ready, Jane?
I'm ready.
Okay.
응답하라 여친. Go to the into the 실.
Back to the kyung to the Jew. Yes. Jane,
Yes.
it's very well known that you and I have very different FYPs.
For you pages on TikTok.
And I'll ask you things like, Jane, did you get caught up on Risa Tisa?
And I'll say, who is that?
Did you hear about the boy that hated on Filipinos?
No.
The Korean boy?
No.
Jane?
I don't see any of this content.
You know who Elise Myers is.
I do know who she is.
See, she does know who Elise Myers. So Elise Myers is off TikTok at the moment.
You just told me that, and I didn't know that.
Yeah. All her videos are gone. How does one do that? Is it like privated? It can't be privated.
Deactivate it. Are you able to search her?
Oh, well, so you can see her page, but it's got
blank.
her face profile, but no video showing.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know.
But you did know who Elise Myers was, and you were shocked when I told you.
Yeah,
that
she had kind of a meteoric rise on TikTok.
and it was specifically on TikTok that she blew up.
Specifically on TikTok, and she just did these really funny story times, very candid talks.
Yeah, very good storyteller.
Very good storyteller, very engaging, captivating. It was very off the cuff, not...
Didn't feel scripted.
Not scripted. She was just a great storyteller, and she
seemed
in
very
emojis.
kind.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just charming.
Yeah. You know what? I think the last video, I didn't even know or question that she left. So this must be pretty recent.
It's very recent.
I've seen her videos about, what is it? The eyelash serum.
I didn't even know that.
But she did.
Oh, yes, I do recall. Somebody was like, "Oh, well, I had to get the serum that
I think
Elise
I got it
Myers.
because she said something."
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's right. That think
was pretty recently. That was
right before this controversy, I think.
Oh, what controversy?
So, Elise Myers has been flooded with comments to talk about Palestine. Now, this started months ago. I think people were asking.
Okay.
But I don't know if I think I know enough about you've seen all the watermelon emojis, right?
Yes.
And that is because a lot of TikTok seems to ban, so it became this thing, well, it has all the colors of Palestine flag, so this is how we're going to keep talking about it. It needs to be talked about, which I agree with because mainstream media is not presenting the Palestine story. You're getting a lot of pro-Israel content, which is, I think that's a fact. Would you say that's a fact?
I say that's a fact.
Yeah, I think that's a known fact amongst people that are trying to follow what's happening in Palestine. So TikTok has become a place where you get like these raw footages from mothers
and we
losing their
talked about
children.
this last time, talking about the potential ban on one of the reasons why TikTok is so valuable is that's where you get unfiltered content and kind of equal access.
Yeah. And because people recognize what a tool TikTok has been to share the stories of Palestine, there are people who, I mean, it's even called a movement to get creators to talk about Palestine, to ask creators.
Yes, that I know, that they will flood certain large creator accounts or do it as a means to raise awareness just within the comment section.
And that's the point. It became...
They're borrowing that space.
So many people come on this page. Okay, so, this person's not going to talk about it, but let us keep talking about it. Well, I guess in a way, it kept getting flooded, and people were genuinely starting to wonder, why doesn't Elise talk about it? And then I think, and now this is, I believe what I'm saying I try to follow. I wasn't paying attention that close to what was going on specifically with Elise Myers, but since she left the app, and in her bio it states, I'm leaving. I'll be back when I'm back.
Oh.
Then it got me a little bit more curious, and I started to follow sort of the timeline. So after the flooding of comments was happening, she dropped the video that shared that her son, I believe her second child, was going through did go through a procedure where there was a hole in the heart, and it was that's a huge thing, right? And was thinking like, we are so very fortunate and lucky that our child was able to get the procedure, and this is, like a gratitude post. However, because she was getting flooded with the Palestine question, at first, people rushed to Elisa's side, I believe. Like, how dare you demand things of this creator who clearly in her own life is going through struggles you don't know about. That's her child. That's, you don't know what people's struggles are. You can't be demanding things. She's not the kind of creator that makes political content. Why do you expect that from her? And I think that, heat was there especially from big creators to defend her. But then the dust sort of settled, and it became, why was the timing of sharing that story when people were asking, flooding, right? It became like, okay, it's a struggle you're going through, but it seemed to be like
an explanation.
Be like, hey, get off. People perceive it to be like, get off my back, because I have my own life. And
that didn't satisfy.
I think then it actually opened more criticism, like, so you're a mother and you see all this footage coming out of Gaza where we know it's a fact that children are dying, that children are getting, because Gaza, the population is mostly children and women, higher than other population. And then she was done. I believe these are the events.
I see.
And actually, my husband and I were discussing this because even he knew who Elise Myers was. And now we're at this frontier of like, how much can you demand from an influencer, a term we despise because we didn't set out to influence. But it no longer is a term that just is about someone that pushes a lifestyle. When you have like, Elise Myers, I believe, had like 7 million followers. That is a huge platform. It is undeniable.
Yeah.
The reach someone like that has. What are your thoughts now that I've got you all caught up?
Yeah.
It's loaded, right?
It is loaded. It's loaded because I've seen all sides of that argument.
Right.
And I can see both sides. I can see both the creator, the content creator, influencer standpoint where, yes, you have amassed this following, which is a huge platform. And there are things that I think you can choose to talk about. For example, when we saw the rise in Asian hate crimes.
Right.
That wasn't easy for me to talk about.
Right.
It's talking about anything takes courage.
Yeah.
And a conviction that you're going to put this out there.
Yeah.
And it's going to be received the way it's going to be received. You have no control over that.
Yeah.
And it's scary. I have done that a few times because they were issues that were very close and personal to me. And I didn't feel that in speaking out against it, I had to be a certain expert or anything. Right. With Israel, Palestine, everything happening in Gaza, I thought about it probably very long and hard every day. And I was consuming the news and the content and the firsthand accounts. But I took much more of listening stance because I wanted to know more and I wanted to hear more from various voices. And of course, I was reading my normal news channels too. And then hearing and then being able to discern. I really wanted to discern. Oh, I want to see, like, as a regular schmegular person reading the news, like, what am I understanding? And then what am I understanding from, perusing, scrolling TikTok and seeing these firsthand accounts. And in that, I was able to see the discrepancy. And at the same time, there were many people, activists and scholars whose voices and takes I really, really appreciated. At no point did I feel that I'm going to go on here and add my 2 cents just so people know where I stand, because I know where I stand. I want there to be a ceasefire now. And I think this is awful. And reading about the history of Palestine and I have kids. Bennett has been asking me. And we've had to have those conversations at home. And it's very hard. I can't even, I have to gather my thoughts to have the conversation at home. Where it's totally private. But I think it's hard to just say expect, if you're now a content creator and you're putting stuff out there, that you have to talk about this because so many people are demanding it. I think that is also a choice. It's a choice that you have. And yes, she made a choice to go away. And that definitely also is a type of response.
It is.
That demands, it really is, that demands interpretation. But that is a choice that she made. And maybe when she comes back, maybe she won't feel compelled to explain why she did that at the time.
I love that you said this because I did make a video about Palestine yesterday, and I said, I understand it from multiple sides like you, but I said, but it has to be her choice.
It has to be her choice.
Because
you're not gonna. You want that to be fake? You want it to be because people are demanding it? And what merit does that have? Like, what?
I don't want that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't want people to give me lip service because I want it. It has to, but it does also speak volumes that she didn't address it, right? So then my question to you, and I don't think you've experienced it, but if you were to have like a massive amount of followers ask you, could you talk about Palestine? But to the point where it was like a lot of your followers wanted you to, would you do it? Would you share your thoughts?
I think I would.
I think I would too.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that Elise Myers can't say, these are my genuine thoughts. This is not take a side, but like, where are your thoughts?
She's also somebody who, there are creators who don't engage with comments at all. Like, you're a creator who engages with your comments.
I do. I have a very full-on relationship with my...
And you have a relationship with your followers. So, and I think she was one of those creators. She did lots of...
If initially,
I'm not mistaken,
maybe.
Maybe before.
And maybe it got to such a massive page that you can't.
She also has been very transparent
And she also became a mother recently.
Yeah, and she was transparent to her like mental health issues and anxiety and all of that. I don't. Yeah, there's so many people like that where they didn't intend to amass this following, but they did, because that's kind of what intrigues people.
Right.
Is just the realness, the unfiltered, the raw. They don't like this is why it's like the anti-Instagram,
right?
Or that's how it started out. I think it is a very nuanced thing.
Adonis had like, and I think it's more so because he's not so in TikTok, and he doesn't grasp like how TikTok. Because I've seen firsthand how TikTok can move people, and I mean he's seen it, but I don't think he understands how compelling it can be. So he was saying to me, like, I don't think she owes anyone that. And I don't think like I said, I still stand by it's a choice. And it has to be her choice to make. However, I think there is a certain responsibility with a page as massive as hers that grew on TikTok. And if you have 7 million eyes on you, there is, I think you can actually have the power to save literal lives in the capacity that you could help raise funds or at least share a perspective on the story. Especially, and I think this is not specific, or this is not a general statement, but like as specific to what's happening in Palestine, because mass media is so pro-Israel, like you actually can be a tool. Now, yes, she was never a political creator. She never. And do you really? I mean, it's like you said, it's so nuanced. Do you really want commentary from someone?
But what they're wanting to hear is not. I think the push and the demand to hear her speak out is, a lot of that push comes like, we want to hear you explicitly state that you demand an end to this genocide. And a lot of people, I think, don't know.
Right. It's like they want to know, where do you stand?
Yeah.
Because, and this is the question then.
No, I think a lot of the creators, I think it's hard when they themselves don't know where they stand.
But what about if you're, okay, then this is another question. What if the followers, do they have, if they want to follow you and support you and enjoy your content, and they say to you, I want to keep doing that, but I need to know where you stand.
Yeah. Then I think
because I want to support people who do.
Yeah.
So can you let us know? From that perspective, do you think the creator owes a response?
I don't think they, it's really hard for me to say like they owe a response. That's really something on them. Yeah. They I think followers can think we're owed a response, or else I'm out.
But I think at this point, like you said, it is a response. And it's like, what do you take from that response? If you were to, because like you and I say, and I have made, and I think you would do the same, if you were asked to make your stance clear, you would, if it came to that. the choice not to do it does seem very
telling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the internet is also a fickle place, right?
Of course.
One minute, I told you about Risa Tisa. You had no idea who she was. She overnight became a sensation and grew from like a no name to an account with like in the millions. I think probably like 4 at this point. Like overnight. And she's in Good Morning America and she just got signed by one of the biggest Hollywood agencies. But as soon as she got success, all of a sudden there was a day where I was scrolling through lives, all like women lives just talking shit about Risa Tisa and how she all of a sudden wasn't worthy because it's like the success that she received, it exceeded everybody's expectations.
Yeah.
And people who loved her storytelling, her riveting details, all of a sudden could not stomach her. And it was like, how loyal do you have to be to these people?
Right.
That as much as they loved your rise, also are eager to see you fall.
They're not loyal to the creator. And yeah, that I want to ask the question. Do you expect anything of celebrities?
Do I?
Celebrities like Hollywood movie stars.
You know who I get asked about a lot?
Who?
Awkwafina.
Huh, okay.
And her...
because she's a fellow comedian?
I don't know. I think, as some people have told me that I remind them of Awkwafina, and as a comedian woman, I guess, Asian woman. And I get asked about her, like, what are your thoughts on Awkwafina? And, you know, the drama behind Awkwafina is that she used Black vernacular when it served her. And then when she got to the Oscars, that shit was gone. And she never really addressed it. She's always kind of been dodgy about, and turns out you didn't grow up in the hood. You grew up in the burbs. So what are you talking about?
Yeah.
In her case, I thought it was unfortunate that she didn't address it head on and say, hey, you know, like, I'm truly sorry. I am truly sorry if the Black community felt used by me. I think if she had done that, it would have healed both communities. But she is just an actor. What do we expect from an actor, right? But at the same time, I think we are entering this phase of entertainment. Hollywood, like, stars. We're not putting people on pedestal anymore.
No, we're not.
And it's like, and people are finding power in consuming, right? As a consumer, they're saying, I want to know who I'm consuming, and I want to have a right to where my dollar goes. So I think this is a new frontier.
It is a new frontier. I think about that a lot. Like, do they owe us anything? Or do I, as a creator, owe people anything?
Can an actor just be an actor?
Yeah.
But I think if you made it your personality to rise to the top, you know, using Black vernacular, and then what do you think? Don't you think that you should answer for it as well? So I'm not a fan of the steps she took, and I'm not too much of a fan of her. But, you know, then again, you go like, what person isn't flawed?
Right.
And, you know.
You're not going to have, I mean, people love to cheer on somebody who's enjoying a rise.
Right.
They also love to find reasons for
so sad
when they're at the top.
It's the human
for
nature.
A fall from grace.
Yeah.
Yeah. And behind all of that is real, actual human beings.
Yes.
And more than Hollywood A-listers, celebrities, a lot of these influencers, they may or may not have, agencies and teams and representatives and all that, but a lot of times they're just regular people.
They're so regular
regular people. And we're living that right now. Is we're living in this new frontier where we're going to see the effects of this mass piling on.
Yeah.
It's a very not normal situation where so many people have access to tell you what to do or not to do or demand something. Yeah.
And also, so then my husband, my husband being my husband was like, I mean, just imagine in 10 years, everything you said is going to be cringe too.
Yeah, I mean, like, I can't watch videos that I did last year, let alone 6 months ago.
And that's like, like Forever 21. Fast fashion, fast content. It's going to be outdated in a hot second.
Yeah.
But you know what will never be outdated, I think, in my lifetime that I sadly am confident about? Racism. And because I've talked so much shit about racism, I'm like, you know what? I feel like in 10 years you're gonna bring up my shit and it'll still be the same.
Of course.
So
there's always a new story, a new situation.
Like we have not
Yeah.
I'm like, what did I say was so cringe? People? I mean, you think they're not gonna be
Yeah.
I highly doubt it. So I can fall back on that. But as far as other things, I don't know. Like I even though I feel like people perceive that because I have a lot to say that, I'm just talking out of my ass. I actually do think a lot about the content I make.
And you don't ever get scared? Like, do you get scared about like putting things out there?
I think a lot about what I'm putting out there, and I am very mindful.
I think that's the skill you have, is when you see it, it seems very much like you're just speaking off the cuff. But me knowing you, know that you put in a lot of thought to it.
And I am speaking off the cuff, but I've thought about it quite a bit before I decide to post about it. And what I do know about me, what I do trust in me, is that at the core, I'm not driven by, I mean, of course I'd like to make money, but I'm not driven by money.
Yeah.
My content isn't pushed out by money or sponsorships or brand deals. They're my like core beliefs that help me. And that's why I never fucking run out of content, because a lot of things I have a lot to say because I believe so strongly. And at the core of it, I believe what pushes me to make the content I do is I want young BIPOC children to have belief in themselves and confidence and feel seen and heard. So usually that's what moves me to make commentary. And as long as I'm driven by that, yes, I do have confidence. And if I'm wrong, I'm not where it's coming from.
Yeah.
And I have been wrong. There was a time I called out someone and it turned out they have like anxiety disorder, which I thought was a very black and white issue. I still think there are elements. One does not negate. People always want to speak in such like
either or,
but it had layered. And I this young white woman had social difficulties, might have been on the spectrum and whatnot, which I did not count into. However, I can say that it was a genuine mistake and I owned it, but it doesn't for me, it still did not take away the race issue. So I stood by it. I didn't take the video down. Or maybe I did. Maybe I did because I was asked to. I'm not sure. But with all the content that I make, for me, I do ask myself before I push post, can I stand by this? And I can. And I usually ask that to myself.
Yeah.
And that is one thing that I am very proud of. That, you know, I know that my content isn't driven to, you know, it's driven to make you think. It's driven to broaden your mind, but it's not like clickbait. Yeah. I don't do it just, there are people out here that make sick content. And my mind is creative enough to make sick content for clickbait, but I don't do that. It's a choice.
Yeah.
So, yes, I have confidence. And I can, do I fear I could take a misstep? Absolutely. Who, you know, I told you, I don't know if was it you? I did a live the other day. I forgot the live was on.
Yeah, you told me.
And I was like, oh my fucking God, how long was that on? And like, I was so like, oh my God. Well, I was actually thinking like, what if I farted? Shit like that.
Yeah.
Am I going to get canceled?
Yeah.
But I am honest for the most, as honest as one can be. You know, let's be real here.
Online
you are holding a camera.
Yeah,
like you're aware that the camera's on. Of course.
Yeah.
But you know, I have my husband who checks me on the daily. Do you know what this fool told me? He said, you know, maybe instead of doing your lives, you should go see your real friends more. He's like, maybe
but I like my friends on here more.
Maybe he's like, yeah, and yeah, you like the people who like you. Surprise. And I was like, wow. He's like, I'm just worried that you will lose touch. He literally told me to go touch grass is what he did.
As long as he's around, you will never lose touch.
Exactly.
As long as he's around and as long as I'm around, you will never lose touch. You will never
have my, checkers in place, okay?
Yeah.
Y'all never have to worry about my head ever getting too big because I got my husband. Also, the other day, he was like, I made kimchi fried rice, right? And he goes, oh, did you use Spam or ham? There's this like ham that his mom gave, and he prefers Spam, right?
Okay.
And I was like, Spam. He goes, okay, good. It won't taste bad like last time. I'm like, I fucking knew it. I fucking knew it, bro. You lied to me.
Yeah.
He'll be like, this bitch will tell me that he is not picky about food, and he'll say little shit like that. I'm like, that is exactly what a fucking picky person would do.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh.
Anyway, so don't ever worry about me getting a big head. My husband and Jane will never allow it. That's what Yeochins are for.
Oh man. You know, like all of this to say is I think we need to just remember that we should expect, we're people. We're people.
And people are flawed creatures.
I think people can have influence. They can have wonderful influence. I think it's harmful when you get swept up in like the masses kind of descending.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You know why? And and actually that has made me appreciate the fact that I have staled on TikTok. I am glad that I am not growing exponentially.
Yeah,
I'm like, I like my snail pace.
That's what's so fascinating about this age that we're living in is you'll see the kind of upswell and then you'll see the downfall. And we can all agree that TikTok is and social media in general like a phenomenon, and it can do great things. I think it's okay to expect large creators to talk about something, especially as big as Palestine that's been going on for months now. But it is nuanced.
There's like we always say, everything's in the gray.
Yeah.
And finding those fine lines it's difficult.
Much more important to be where you are, like all of us individually.
Yeah.
What am I doing? How am I living?
Yes.
Am I living my values?
Yes.
And yeah, I think it's good to. So for me, it's a good thing to be mindful of all of that.
Yeah.
Right. And being on TikTok, being a creator, having a social media following has made me more aware than ever about what it is to like have the way I live align with what I say I believe.
Yeah.
And what I say and what I put out there.
Yeah.
It really has. And so for me, that's a good thing. It also has made me realize that I need to give a ton of grace to people around me. At the same time, acknowledging that these people who are commenting, they likely are the ones experiencing whatever injustice, more closely than I am.
Yeah.
And they're looking for that.
Yeah.
And so I think I just want to hold all of that.
Yeah.
And acknowledge that it's there. We crave connection.
Yeah.
We want to see that the people that we're following online are, align with our values and are there for more than just, the lack of a better word, like the glory of like internet fame.
And I'm always making content without having washed my face. I am not there for the glory at all.
I mean, it's a time where we're being a lot more mindful about who we follow, what we, like you said, what we consume, what businesses we support.
I think I think that realization and awakening is a beautiful thing.
It is a good
to be
thing.
part of.
Yeah.
But there's of course pros and cons to it all.
Yeah.
It's only going to get more.
I think when you enter this, when you're like, okay, I'm going to, be on the internet. Yeah. You're accepting the fact that you're
going to get shitted on.
Ownership of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like that. I mean, that's what you're.
Yeah.
It comes with the territory.
Right.
Yeah. I hope she comes back though. No?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I did not, for me,
mm-hmm.
I've always, me, I always am suspicious of people that are too nice.
Yeah. Are you? Or do you put them on a pedestal?
I guess that's why.
Uh-huh.
I used to.
Because you've been burned.
I used to, and now I know better.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So.
I think, I mean, I hope that we're all learning and knowing better. And becoming just a little bit more critical. Yeah. Yeah.
And, I am so thankful I have you to bounce off with because this shit is hard.
It is. Yeah.
And you can talk to your friends about it, but unless they're in it, they have
mm-hmm.
no idea how bad this stuff can get.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very thankful. I have texted you, oh my God, am I done on this app for good? And you're like, just calm down. just it'll blow over.
Yeah.
And it helped me so
mm-hmm,
tremendously.
Mm-hmm.
So of course I thank you.
Yes.
But you need to be grounded in reality.
For sure.
If you're gonna
Social
get into
media
this.
Is not
it's not
reality.
For the faint-hearted.
No, it's not.
People make fun of it, but it's not easy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Be careful, kids.
Yes.